when they entered the ark and they were dancing and singing a Kuria Mate, when they were moving their body, you can see like a time dilation of your hands. Like when your hands go down, you can still see the part of your hands that's up and then it follows your hand. But I also thought, man, it was probably the freaking drink they gave us that makes us see this, but the floor was vibrating. So the floor was vibrating so much that my butt cheeks were like vibrating. Everything was vibrating in my body because we were sitting down on the floor. So everything was vibrating. We were like, what the heck is going on? And then it stopped.
You're listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
It is June 1st, and it's my pleasure to be with JP again, who has an update for us. So welcome, JP, to Exopolitics Today.
Hey, Doc, it's been a long time. How you doing? I know a lot of people are anxious to hear this next update or, this next experience that I had is really, really, I think it's going to be an update that I think people are going to see different military bases different after I talk about this, maybe. But yeah, thank you for having me in your channel, and I'm really happy to be here on Exopolitics.
Right, for those that maybe don't know or are new to JP's information, he is currently serving with the US Army. He has been serving since 2019. We can't give any locations, but he has been performing covert missions with different organizations, and these covert missions have involved both off-planet travel and travel to deep underground bases, and some of those have been covered in the first 2 volumes of US Army Insider Missions. So JP, why don't you tell us about this latest update?
So we got a text, and it was 3 of us that we went. I don't know the other 2 people. They met up with me over there at the location where we had to go. So we went to the location. I brought you actually to this location, to this particular base. It's a huge base. So I brought you to this particular location. I think I drove you by probably one of the buildings where this particular thing happened to me and these 2 other guys. So we went into the base, we went into the coordinates of the location where we had to go to this particular building, and we entered the building and we had to go through a screening. And you know how they do in airports? I'm like, man, what the hell? I talked to the other guy and he had a mask on, like a COVID mask. I'm like, hey, why do you have that shitty mask on, man? You scared me. He's like, oh no, I just like to wear it. I said, you like to wear it or you don't like to show your face? He's like, I don't like to show my face. I was like, all right, cool beans. So he was just wearing a mask not to show his face. So I think he felt protection by people not knowing who he was by entering this building. So me, I didn't give a shit. I just went as I was. So we entered to this building and we entered through a security system. And when I went through, it started beeping. The other guy went through, it did not beep for him. The other guy went through and it started beeping. So they separated us. They pat us down and they had this wand, but the wand was not black. It was a white wand. And it had like a greenish, bluish laser that was coming out of it. And they were just like wobbing it like around our body, like back and forth. And I was like, okay, I feel funny. I feel weird. I felt like a sensation of fainting, but I was still awake and aware of what was happening. So when they're passing the wand, my whole body felt like if I was gonna, like my knees were gonna buckle and I was gonna fall on the floor. But after they took out the wand, they said, okay, you're good to go. They're like asses sometimes, like they treat you like you're worth nothing sometimes. That's what I felt. when I went to this particular training or mission or whatever you want to call it. So they took us into this room, and they had these chairs, and they had sitting on these chairs, and then they had like a nurse type that came out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna want you to take these pills." I'm like, "Oh shit." I told the guy, "Hey, I don't know if I'm gonna take that," and he's like, "Bro, just take it, bro. It's just not um let time pass." And I looked at him like, what do you mean let time pass? It's just drink the pill, bro. So I guess the guy that was next to me, he has done this before. And I'm like, shit. All right. So I just drank the pill. It was a white type of pill that you drink with the water that tastes like a little bit like vinegar. And I just drank in. I'm like, all right, I just drink that shit. Let's see what happens. So we drank the pill, and then we had to wait. We had to wait a little bit on what was happening. And I was really stressed because in the news, the Trump case was going on and came out that he was guilty, and everybody was stressed the shit out because of that situation and because of what's happening in the United States because of that situation, you know. So in that same time, I think I even sent a message to a particular chat that I was just stressed, and you know, throughout that time it was happening, and I had my phone with me, so I was using my phone. My phone was still working. They did not take our phones away. We kept our phones. So from that room, we got up, and then we they took our phones away. We had to go to this box, and they gave us like a card key to put our stuff in there. So we had to put our jewelry, our necklace, our dog tags, our wallet, phones, earbuds. We had to put everything that, and everybody used the same box. So I was like, man, he's gonna put his shit there with mines too. And he's like, yeah, everybody's using the same box. So we all use the same box. So the other guy was hilarious because he pulled out he pulled out a what you call it, like a tuna can. He had a tuna can in his right pocket of his uniform OCPs. And I'm like, bro, what the hell? You have a tuna can with you? He was like, well, I just have it just in case I get hungry because I know I kind of knew that we were gonna do something today, so I just brought the tuna can. I said, now you're gonna leave it in the freaking box. He says, yeah, sucks. I'm like, bro, tuna can? I think he bought it in the gas station that they have in the base. So he kind of knew that it was gonna be a while. So after we put our stuff, our phone in this particular box, they gave us a card key, and we left our card key. Not yeah, card key. We left it back also, so we have to pick it up with the nurse when we come back to do whatever we're gonna do. They brought us into this box white room, right? And I felt this box room was the size of a garage, a car garage from my house, a one car garage, and it was white, pure white. It was like a marble. You could not see no corners because the corners were curved out, so it was quite interesting, this room. But you could tell it was a square room, but the corners were, or I don't know if you ever seen a green room, how it's made, but it's like curved out.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked similar to that. So we didn't see no other doors. So when they locked the door behind us, it was just the three of us. And we looked at each other because when they locked the door behind us, the door was so precise. No, you cannot see no entrance or nothing. So it closed and it locked. And we felt like we were running out of air. I was like, hey, how long we're gonna stay here? And then the guy that I think has done this before, he said, hey, just sit down and relax. Don't worry. I'm like, okay, let's sit down and relax. Let's not worry. So we sat down. The other guy didn't talk as much. Uh, he was quiet. The guy with the mask was talking more. The other guy, he did not talk as much. He just went and whatever they told him to do, he did.
So I just wanted to ask JP at this point. I mean, this happened on Thursday, May 30, the day Trump's guilty verdict was announced. You drank this liquid. Did you feel anything at all? I mean, was there any effect? I mean, you've drunk it, you waited a bit, then they put you into this room. Were you feeling any effect from this drink?
No, no, I was actually feeling good, Doc. Like if I drank like a vodka or something like that, it felt similar to a buzz, similar you get when you drink like a cup of wine or some shit like that. So like, I kind of felt good. That's why I didn't I didn't question it. So yeah, I felt like a buzz. I did feel like a buzz.
So did it make you feel more alert? Did it make you feel
Yeah,
more?
it was more like a happy sensation, a buzz. When you get a buzz, I don't know if you ever drank before, but
Okay, I
you
get
feel
it.
yeah, you feel like a buzz, and you feel more talkative. You feel more outgoing
I see.
on on different things. You talk about other different things. You're more outgoing. You're like alert, but like like chilling. You know, so yeah, I guess it kicked in after 30 minutes that we were there looking at the TV, looking at what was happening with Trump, President Trump, and we just they turned off the TV and they told us to go to this room. So when we got to this room, they locked this room, and we heard the locking mechanism was like a machine, like zzz, zzz, and I was like, I was just worried we were gonna run out of air, you know. So the other guy said, "Hey, come down, just sit down and relax." So after that, we were in this room for 10 minutes, right? This whole room, the floor started vibrating. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? The whole room started vibrating. And I looked at the guy and said, what the hell's going on? He says, don't worry, man. He kept telling me, no, don't worry about it. Just go with it. I'm like, okay. So I went with it, like always. And I'm like, why do I have to go through these experiences? Why do I have to go through this? What's going on? You know? And I was saying it out loud. And the guy was saying the same thing. He was like, yeah, I don't know why we go through this. It's just the way it is. It's just how the universe wants this to happen. So it started vibrating, and then it started vibrating even harder. The whole room, you can clearly see the vibration. When I moved my hand up and down, you could see multiple hands, similar to when I was in the ark and I saw the Mexicans when they entered the ark and they were dancing and singing a Kuria Mate, when they were moving their body, and when the Chinese were behind them, you could see like a time dilation of your hands. Like when your hands go down, you can still see the part of your hand that's up, and then it follows your hand. So you can see it also. But I also thought, man, it was probably the freaking drink they gave us that makes us see this, you know. But the floor was vibrating. So the floor was vibrating so much that my butt cheeks were like, I'm sorry about that, but vibrating. Everything was vibrating in my body because we were sitting down on the floor. So everything was vibrating. We were like, what the heck is going on? And then it stopped. And then when it stopped, I kept doing this to my hand, and it was still doing it. I was like, oh shit, it's still doing it. Okay, cool. So I'm okay. I'm all right. And then the mechanism of the door, you can hear it that went shh, shh, and it opened, and I smelled something like if it was like a rainforest, like trees and all that. And then the guy that was quiet, he got up And then the guy that was talkative, that was wearing the mask, he said, "Let's follow him." And once we got out the door um, of this particular room, Doc, and I looked up, there was so much vegetation where we were at. And it brought me back to one of my first missions. I went with Lovent and Shin to these domes that were made of vegetation. And you see different types of fruits that you never seen in your life growing from different types of trees. Beautiful, beautiful, like if it was Eden. Uh,
Well, I
uh
remember that. I remember you talked about that. I think that happened in 2015. You told me about that incident. I've described it in the first volume of US Army Insider Missions, where you went with Lovent to this place, like as you described. So you walk from this room that's been vibrating. You walk through the door, and you're in something very similar. Is that what you're saying?
Frequency.
I think it was a is really really similar to a place where I visited. Uh, it was amazing, Doc. You can see it's similar to where I went with Lovent because I can see the clouds surrounding the dome that I was in, and you can see the clouds coming down from the domes, and it looks so beautiful. And the color of the domes were like a rainbow bluish color that was fluorescent, and it was giving light to all these vegetation that we saw. So we started walking into this vegetation, and the guy that was not talking, he started talking. He's saying, "Hey, this place is a sacred place, and it was found by the military, and other ET races also found these places." And then he started saying about this place being in a different type of dimension, and that we learned the technology of traveling to a particular dimension that has all these other living things and living places. And then it put me back to the mission when I went into the visiting the ant people, and we were about to see the king, but I didn't want to go because I didn't feel the right way to go
You didn't feel worried.
to. Yeah, I didn't feel worthy, but it was a similar process of how we got to this location. So I started seeing beautiful fruits. There was a tree that looked like it was giving out like a pepperish apple, and I took the apple, and I asked the guy, "Hey, is it okay to try it?" He's like, "Yeah, it's okay to try it. We eat here all the time." So when I bit into it, it tasted like pineapple, lemon, and guava. But and then the guava taste after you bite it, it bursts. It bursts in your mouth like the guava taste. It was an amazing type of fruit that I tasted. I'm like, holy shit, this shit tastes freaking good. What the hell? What is this? And he said, "Oh, that particular fruit has all the vitamins that we need to live in a particular place on Earth." And I was like, wait. So you're trying to tell me that back in the days there was particular fruits that you have to eat to in order to live in that particular location? He's like, yes. The fruits were made for you to eat in certain parts of location for longevity for that particular place that you live in. So they were saying about coconuts they made to live sea level. So depending what level of height, it is a humongous science of fruits that they were talking about. And I think the guy that was next to me that had the mask, he was I don't know if you call it a fruitologist. He's really into the plants and the biology of different types of plants. So that's his type of job that he does in the military. I don't know.
Botanist.
What is it?
A botanist?
Well, it was a botanist, but he also studies animals. So there was particular plants that was moving like if they were animals in this particular garden that we were in. So I saw a plant moving their branches like if it was a snake, and there was no wind. So when you get close to it, it wraps around your hand and it stays there. And you feel like not a sting, but you feel like a sensation of sleepiness. And then they said, "Hey, yeah, that plant, what it does, it wraps around a rodent, or when it used to be on Earth. So these plants are extinct right now that were on Earth, but this particular plant, he told me that it acts like it wraps around, like say he finds a rabbit or a rodent and it wraps around it and it does not let it go, and it releases this toxin that you know kills whatever it wraps around with it, and then it keeps growing by, similar to the Venus fly trap. It works,
Okay.
but it wraps around whatever organism it catches, and it stays until it dies, and then it uses as energy it's amazing the plants I saw, Doc. Maybe I'm gonna have to uh write information, this much of information of what types of plants that I saw that I think that lived. They told me that they lived on Earth, but they brought the seeds to this particular location. So right now, all the extinct plant species that lived are right now in this particular dome, Eden looking place.
Now, is this dome a kind of arc?
It did not look like an arc. It looked more like a crater type of. It looked like a crater. And when I looked out from the dome, it was dark, but you cannot see as good because the reflection of whatever light that was coming in. Uh, I think the dome worked like sunglasses protecting the UV light for the plants. So it's like a big ass green house, a huge greenhouse, and I guess depending of the altitude, it's like it's made in rings, right? In steps, in rings. So depending the altitude is different plants that grows and different fruits that grow. So for example, you would have a mango tree that only grows in the south, right? In the United States, but you have an apple tree that grows only in the north. Like right here in this particular dome, the apple tree will grow on the upper level of the ring, and then the mango tree will grow on the bottom part of where they get the most concentrated sunlight or whatever light they got, because the way the dome was made is like a big ass magnifying glass type of dome that, depending where you're at, is the heat that you receive from outside. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but
Hmm?
depending what layer you're in is depending what plants grow there. So it's quite interesting. It's huge.
Now,
It's huge.
you were saying this dome is probably in some other dimension, but you couldn't see what was outside of the dome. Was it like on the
No,
surface of a
no,
planet,
no, no,
the
no.
sun? Was it in space? Was it
I
under?
think it's somewhere else. I don't think this is on Earth.
Okay, so we know it's in another dimension, not on Earth. But in terms of the light, what was it, like diffused light? In other words, coming from outside, that the dome was somehow
It looks
absorbing
similar
light.
to a golden hour type of a light. When the sun is going down, golden hour.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like that particular light that was coming in awe in the whole place. So we were not there for a long time. We were there like for an hour and 40 minutes. Then we had to go back to the center of the dome. That's what that particular room is. So when we got out and you look back, this there's like a ancient looking structure, right? And this ancient looking structure has a black hole that you can walk into it. And once we walked in to this particular black hole type of entrance, we entered into that white, beautiful marble looking room. And it's beautiful, Doc. This particular dome is beautiful. So we started walking around, and they told me to grab some fruits, and they had this particular bag that they were carrying it.
Who told you to
So
grab the fruit? The
the
two guys?
guy that
House.
the guy that was not talking, he started telling us to grab the fruits, particular fruits, and to bring it back with us, these particular fruits. So we're like, okay, cool, awesome. It's we got a fruit that looked like a banana, but it's like a bluish color as well, a bluish banana looking, but it splits into two parts. Like it comes down as one, but it splits into two parts. Uh, like if it was two bananas mixed into one. So that was an interesting fruit. We had uh types of fruits that looked like blueberries, but they were like a pinkish pinkish red color, and they were way bigger, but they grew just like blueberries. And it's kind of interesting because I went blueberry picking today with my family, and I was thinking about this particular mission. I was like, wow, it's amazing what other plants we probably have in the inner earth and these other places that can be beneficial for us. You know,
What was the oxygen like in there?
it was like similar to like a rainforest type of oxygen, similar to what you smell inside the arcs.
So did it feel like it was a higher oxygen concentration?
Yeah, it was. The oxygen level is similar to what is in the arcs. It's really high concentrated oxygen. It
And what
was.
air
I,
temperature?
the air temperature was like around 80 degrees. The location where we were at. Remember the rings that are in the upper level is it goes like it jumps down to 15 degrees every layer you go up to. So it could get cold in the higher levels where you can see the clouds. Really nice dome.
Let's see. And did you have any idea who made that dome? Who
This
controlled it?
this this looked like it was really ancient, Doc. When you look back to the structure where that white room is, it had I remember have seeing a sign that looked like the at sign. When you put at.com
Yeah.
at so I saw a sign that looked similar to that, but it looked like in the sideways way. So that was quite interesting. It looked really ancient. It looks like it's been there for a really 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 long time. This place, and whoever developed this place was so advanced and so like the way they did it. I don't think we could ever create something like that.
Now, in terms of the entrance or the exit from that place, And you came through some doorway. Was that the only way in and out as far as you knew?
Yeah, as far as I know, that's all it went in.
Okay, so the doorway in was attached to this white room the size of a garage. That's
I estimate that this area was like 3 miles by 3 miles. It was huge.
okay. So this doorway that was part of this room, this white room, that was a interdimensional doorway. That sphere or that.
I'm saying interdimensional because of the process of how we got there. It's similar to what I felt when I was visiting the king of the ant people through that different type of dimension. And also that same feeling when I saw the Mexicans singing a Curia Mate going into that particular section of the ark that was different, that we could not go through it. And I say dimension, but I think it was somewhere else, Doc. I think it could be maybe in one of the moons or maybe our moon. This this dome is probably in our moon, probably.
Okay, but you're not sure, but it could be in the interior of the moon, or could be interior of any planetary body.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, so
But
so
I really analyze the gravitational pull when I go to these different places of my body, how I feel, if I feel heavier, if I don't feel heavier, and I felt the same weight. It's not that I felt a different weight. I felt the same weight as when I go to different places.
oh, that's interesting. Okay, so when you say you felt the same weight as you go to different places, are you talking about different places on Earth or on the moon?
On the moon, or your weight feels really different, lighter on the moon than on Earth, depending on what you're wearing. That makes the weight match of what you weigh on Earth. So also on Ganymede, uh, I felt a similar weight to what you feel on on Earth and Moon.
Okay, so when can you explain how that translates in terms of you walking around? I mean, if your weight is similar to what it would be like to be on the moon, when you're walking around, I mean, do you feel a difference? Are you
You can carry more stuff, Doc. Things are more lighter. You can carry more tools, more things with you on the way. So that's what makes a difference. When you go to space, most people think it's like Star Trek, right? I think I was saying this in when I was talking to Alex yesterday. Most people think it's like Star Trek, that you're walking around the ship, but you actually float a little bit when you're in space. You're strapped in, but you do feel the sensation of floatness, not unless the ship does a certain motion that makes you feel the same gravitational pull that the Earth has.
and in terms of like walking, do you notice any difference? I mean, is it just like walking normally on Earth, or like walking around? Are your steps bigger? Do you kind of float a little bit as you take a step?
You feel more jumpy when you're on smaller planets. When you step, you feel the sensation of you tap up. And I think if you talk to astronauts, they will tell you, the astronauts that walked on the moon, when you walk on the moon, when you give a certain step, it like pushes you back up, and your steps are longer, your jumps are longer. It's
So
the
you're
same thing
feeling
when you.
well, in this dome. You're feeling that.
No, this dome, it felt similar to the same weight that you feel on Earth.
Okay, so similar to Earth. So this
Yeah.
just just felt like normal. Not it's not like the moon.
No, no, this felt normal.
Okay. So now, so you're saying now you think this dome was probably somewhere on the Earth or inside the Earth?
I don't think it could be inside the Earth. I don't know if we have a place like that. it probably could be still on the moon. It's just the dome is a technology, Doc. In order for these plants to grow the way they're growing, it needs to mimic the same gravitational pull that the Earth has. So I don't know what technology they use, but I think it has to do with the dome itself and the way it vibrates energy throughout the whole place.
Okay, so this dome is like an arc, but in terms of preserving Earth fauna or Earth vegetation, simulating the kind of air temperatures, the oxygen levels, and the gravity.
We were seeing a lot of also there's a lot of certain bugs that we saw that was I did not see on Earth. We saw like a type of smaller it didn't look like a mosquito. It reminded me more like a beetle type of bug, and it was like a golden color that was flying around. So I guess they do use particular bugs to still pollinate these particular plants, but these bugs are no longer also on Earth. They're probably extinct as well. So I think the time they took these plants, they kind of knew that these plants were going to be uh, extinct. So whoever took these particular plants and particular bugs, they knew that they were going to be in danger or extinct soon. So I guess they take it and they put it to this particular dome and they save it like archives, like because remember everything that has a DNA has information, Doc. Anything that has a DNA has information about the past and about how the Earth was. It's like a DNA is like a book. So these particular plants that they saved, for them, well, for whoever owns these particular domes, the way I saw it, it's like a major library of the history of Earth. That's how I see it.
Okay, that's a good description. All right, so you saw the insects. Anything else that you saw that kind of stuck out for you?
Different types of trees that their trunks were green, not gray. Different types of trees that look like palm trees, but the palm part was on the side of the tree and growing from the side of the tree. It's not growing from the top. Different types of fruits. The smell of these particular fruits were different. The tastes were different. I think I tasted more than 15 types of different fruits, and they all tasted good. They all tasted amazing.
So this
They,
guy, the expert, the botanist, I mean, he was encouraging you to taste all the different fruits.
yeah, he was encouraged everybody to taste the me and the other dude. He was like, yeah, it's good to eat. Don't worry. I guess we were getting hungry, and we just started eating different types of fruits that this guy was telling us to eat. So, and I think the pill that we drank and the liquid that we drank was helping us with the oxygen level and regulate the oxygen in our blood or something like that because I felt really alert in this particular place with the oxygen. It was a really high density of oxygen. So it was quite interesting.
So how did that end? How did the period inside of the dome end for you? I mean, did the guy that was kind of guiding you through the different plants and
Once we collected the
fruits?
different seeds of these different plants, so he had us sit down like in a picnic type of deal, and he had us open these particular fruits and take the seeds out. And we had like a sandwich type of bag that he already named. So I guess you already knew the names of these trees and the names of all these trees already have names. And I think these scientists have been visiting these particular domes for a long time. And I guess they're taking these seeds and they're taking these fruits, trying to find out different types of longevity medication or medicine to help us live longer, Doc.
Okay. All right. So you were being exposed to this for what reason? I mean, if they've already been studying these domes and they know what's in there, why were you put in that situation?
It was more like it's like when you know, say if there's a car that breaks down in the street and nobody's there to fix it. But if you're a mechanic, you stop and you go help that person and you fix the car. And you help this person out and you fix the car. So I think because I go through all these other experiences, right? And the military is a battle buddy type of deal. You do missions with other people and you do things with other people. When you go through basic training, you always have a battle buddy. Why? Because if you fall, that battle buddy is going to call for help. If you go to battle and you have a battle buddy, if you fall, if you get hurt, if you get shot, that battle buddy is going to take out a tourniquet and help you out and call for help, call for a medic. So the military is like a battle buddy kind of deal. They know I go through these different experiences. They know I go through these different missions and all that. And I think it's a rotation. I haven't gone in a mission in a long time or a training in a long time. So I guess they handpick people that have the experience, because if they pick anybody else, they'll be shocked about these trainings or these experiences or these missions. So they pick people that already have been going through these particular missions and that will act normal and do as be told to do, and at the same time help out with different types of tasks that they needs to be done. People in the military will understand when they hear this. It's like you've been through the experience. Like, they're not going to send somebody to, say, Afghanistan that never been there, or they would, but they would train them and they would know what to expect when they get there. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a function and a purpose that you were serving in this particular mission. And that was kind of like assisting the botanist or the scientist in evaluating, gathering seeds and testing the fruits and so forth.
It's like that. The last mission when we went with the pilots, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? But I was there observing and just with the other guy that was looking at the machines that were picking up this liquid from the ground and all that. So, I ask myself, I say sometimes, why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to go through these experiences? But right now, I got the green light to tell you. So I think one of the reasons is I go through these experiences is to share it with you and to share it with the world. So that's another thing that I see, why I go through these missions and training and experiences.
Okay,
to share with the world what's really happening.
Okay, so the military is actively sending you on a variety of missions to these exotic locations that are part of this covert program, so that you can report back to me, to the general public, what is happening out there in a variety of scenarios involving different planetary bodies, different realities, different dimensions.
Yeah, and it's not only me. There's other people going through this, Doc.
But you're probably the only one that's talking about it at the moment.
Yeah, and that's quite rare. And I'm telling you, man, I'm being attacked a lot, Doc. There's a lot of things going on. It's hard, man.
Yes, I understand. So is there anything else about that mission you want to talk about before we kind of like discuss other topics?
Once we collected the seeds of these particular plants and fruits, we got back to the center part of the location, and we came back to the room. The same process. The room start locked up. It started vibrating, and we vibrated back to that location. And we got out, and we felt like really drowsy, like really tired. I think I was feeling tired by so many fruits I was eating. Uh we came back. We went to the waiting room. The nurse came back. They checked our pressure. They checked our eyes. We went through this other chamber to disinfect us with anything that probably was in the dome. We got disinfected. Then we went back to the box. We got our stuff, and then we got dressed, and we went our ways. We went our separate ways.
Okay. So, and of course, you got the green light from a senior officer in
I
the.
did, and because it was in the same place that I meet up with him. So from there, I met up with him, and he said, "Yeah, that's green light. You got the green light to talk about this."
Fantastic. So, and that's the same military base that you took me to back in 2022, as I with my wife. So I know the
Yes,
base.
Doc. Yes.
All right. Well, let's. Of course, all this occurred on May 30. So about a month ago, you contacted me and said something about traveling to Washington D.C. and there were some meetings that you attended. So, is there anything you want to say about that?
Yeah. I went over there, and I met up with a couple important people, and they were talking to me about different strategies, about how when I really come out, how things are going to go and all that. And we were talking about other things that and other missions that I went through, and they were taking notes. And there's other things that for now we have to keep it in a down low. But yeah, it was important people that I was talking to, and they were taking notes of my experiences and what I go through.
And who arranged the meetings?
It was the same guy that gives me the green light.
I see. Okay. All right. So he was wanting you to talk to some important people in the Washington D.C. area.
It was like a report type of deal that I did. Yeah.
Okay. And at this moment, you can't name anyone. You can't name who these people are or where you went. But you think at some point you might get the pardon me, you might get the green light to do that.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Or they might do it, and we might be in a setting that it's in front of a lot of people, and yeah.
Okay.
But we just have to be careful right now of how the disclosure process is happening, because everybody is being attacked in a different way. I don't know if you know what I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, you want to maybe, in terms of your own personal situation in the army, I mean, is there anything you want to say? I mean, you've been talking over the years about black hats wanting to shut you down. So what's happening now? Is there anything you want to say about that?
For now, I'll just leave it as it is.
Okay. All right. So anything you want to say to our Portuguese and Spanish friends that are listening?
Oi, para todos, muito obrigado. Eu amo muito vocês. Sempre falo que eu amo, porque é a verdade. Muito obrigado por escutar minhas aventuras, minhas experiências de diferentes missões que eu faço. E há muitos brasileiros que faz a tradução de nosso entrevista. E estou muito agradecido por todos os brasileiros que traduzem nossas, nossas experiências, nossa missão. Tá? Muito obrigado e Deus te abençoe a todos. Amo muito vocês e que a paz e a prosperidade pegue todos vocês. Yeah? Awesome.
Wonderful. Okay, well, I want to thank you, JP, again on behalf of everyone listening for sharing this incredible information. I think a lot of people want to know what's happening in the covert world, and so you're one of the few active insiders that are talking about current events that are happening in this very secretive covert world of secret space programs.
Yeah, and awesome. And sometimes I give a lot of different information on Instagram too, on jp.missions. And also sometimes what I'm starting to do now, I'm gonna get certain chapters of the book and talk about more experiences on YouTube for people who can understand with details about the experience and all that. So that's going to be quite interesting when I start doing that.
Okay, so you've got channels on Instagram and on YouTube that people can join where they can watch you or interact with you as you're releasing these mini updates or clarifications or reports on other missions that we've described in the book.
Yeah, for sure. And, I want people to understand that the new missions and the new experiences that I have, I'm always going to do it with Dr. Michael Salla. I'm going to release it first with Dr. Michael Salla because that's what I'm told to do because of how long I've been working with Dr. Michael Salla. So, my experience or my missions that I do first or I go through, I have to go through Dr. Michael Salla first in order to bring this information out. And then I could talk with more details after it comes out with Dr. Salla. So yeah, I just want I'll let people clarify that with a lot of different people.
Yeah, well, it's been this is 16 years now that we've been working together, collaborating, and
yeah. So there's a lot of trust. The white hats trust you a lot, Doc, about bringing this information out.
That's awesome.
And that's really awesome. I'm really happy for that. And I was talking about this before I joined the military. And you even tried telling me, "Oh, I don't know, JP. I don't know if joining the military is gonna, be helpful." But I ended up joining because I was forced to join the military, and the rest is history, and I became probably the first person to bring out this information and all that. But the truth, people will see more of the truth later on when more of my documents and more of my pictures, more of my information comes out, and people will see that we are the real deal. And disclosure is going to happen, and nobody is going to stop us. And we're doing this for humanity. We're doing this for beautiful people that shows love and have a love vibration. And that's what I want to share with people. Bring the Akuria Mate to the beautiful world. That's why we're here, Doc, to help people understand the truth and what's really happening around the world. I'll probably get in trouble by talking like that, but that's the truth.
Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure working with you, JP. These years of you being in the military have been really fascinating. I think I was skeptical at first, thinking that the military would kind of shut you down, but that hasn't happened, that they have actually exposed you to more missions, exposed you to more information, and actually allowed you to come forward. So I'm very happy I was wrong about that, and that you've been able to release just so much more information about what's going on in this covert world. So again, thank you for your courage, thank you for your service to your country, and I look forward to talking to you more in future.
Roger that, Doc. Appreciate it. JP out.
You have been listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Join or start a conversation in the comments. Take the time to explore the vast library of best-selling books, webinars, and podcasts by Dr. Salla. Visit exopoliticstoday.com.